What's up, board game people? Today we have Malhya, Lands of Legend, which launched on Kickstarter. We're going to do a quick walkthrough of the campaign and their offerings with some opinions sprinkled on top. As always, any opinions expressed are my own. I don't receive any money from the game companies for these videos, and they don't know who I am. If we disagree on something, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. I try and take the time to do my research on any campaign I do a guide for, so that's why these videos aren't released the moment a campaign goes live. Malhya Lands of Legend is a cooperative adventure game where you will play as a group of Awakened, the true heroes of the upper lands of Malhya. The game combines land crawling, dungeon crawling, infiltration, fighting, riddles, and more with the support of a deep narrative campaign sporting a choose-your-own-adventure path structure. Level up your heroes, equip them, select talents, fighting styles, and special abilities. The campaign unfolds over 10 base scenarios combined with over 1,000 events to create a total of more than 100 hours of gameplay. This game has spent 6 years in development. I first heard about it a year ago when a video surfaced from Board Game Geek. I've been excited for this campaign ever since. For pledge levels, it's quite simple. There's only one. Malhya, the Heroic Edition, comes in at around $154 US and will get you the core game, all stretch goals, and heroic content. Now, from what I've read in their updates and the comments, it seems the heroic content is the stretch goals that won't be appearing in the box when this game hits retail. So with that statement, I assume there's a retail launch expected in the future. The campaign is well organized, and it's rather easy to see what you'll be getting for your money. The only thing I found missing is that money shot of the entire contents of the pledge laid out in a single photo. I can't overstate enough that this should be one of the first images that most campaigns show after the logo and maybe some flavor text. Grab their attention, then wow them by showing the value that you're offering. Seeing a game laid out like that just does something for most of us. What I particularly like is the little jump markers they've arranged over the entire campaign page. These are a reference to the same ones you'll see in the scenario book, and I found that they're kind of a fun little table of contents, allowing me to jump around the campaign at will if I should like. They go right to work showing you what you'll get, and first up are the 5 heroes contained in the core box, and the one already unlocked character added to the heroic content. So right off the bat, 5 minis and 5 well-designed double-layered player boards. Then we move into the enemies. From them we're getting 3 Ox Assassins, 5 Darkhand Swordsmen, 5 Darkhand Archers, 5 Darkhand Halberders, 5 Monks, 10 Zul, and 10 Predators. Then the enemies start getting larger. We get the Malhya of Time, the Sister of Misery, Double Sword, and a Dragon. I'm a sucker for dragon minis, and this one looks pretty cool coiled around a pillar. I just wish he was filled with arrows like it shows on the enemy card. In the heroic content, we'll also be getting a Titan who looks to have recently ripped off the head of a dragon and stands at about 8 centimeters tall. There are more enemies to come as well. Next up, we get a look at the game components. There are several more double-layered boards. I love the artwork for this entire project. It has a bit of a high fantasy feel to it, and the color palette was well chosen. Some things border on being just a little too saturated, but I really think that's going to be great for table presence. You'll also notice starting here that the symbols or the icons start to take over, and more on that later. Next up is the region map. I love games that give us the overworld view of where we're traveling, but I think this one could use a little more detail in places. These maps help put the world and distances into perspective, and this is where land crawling will come into play for this game. Looks like it badly needs stickers or some way to fill in the details as you explore. There's some lonely looking forests and mountains there just begging for points of interest. The components continue on with more boards and yet more symbols, tokens and dungeon tiles. The dungeon tiles look quite well made and easily readable. I like the variety that they've presented, and they look like they could assemble some interesting maps. Many of the tiles are connected together with doors and various smaller connector tiles. So, this is a game of books. Each scenario has its own book, with 10 currently included in the core. There's an 80-page event book that corresponds with 1,000 combinations that event cards can reveal, and a 140-page exploration book full of maps and I presume puzzles and such. And then to top it off, there's a pretty beefy rule book. You can take a peek at the work in progress rulebook linked towards the bottom of the campaign page. They are also giving us a pad of save sheets to help us track our progress throughout the campaign. They have a dearth of different type of cards that all appear to be standard sized, and a set of 22 custom dice. We're getting a boatload of cubes for tracking various things, 30 mini crystals, 10 large crystals, and a small pile of tokens. Overall, it seems most of the content is in the books, and they didn't opt to overwhelm us under endless stacks of cards. This is actually kind of nice for a change. Next up are the stretch goals, which are currently being based off the number of backers. So far, the new character Ancus and 8 new events have been unlocked, with another unlock looming at 1,469 backers, and more to come. Then there are the add-ons, which again are pretty simple. They offer a sleeve pack for €15, a neoprene dice tray for €8, and an extra set of dice for €17. Then comes the gameplay section. I like what they've done here. You can read about some of the systems and mechanics, and they've also included some short explainer videos to make it even easier to understand. They cover the travel phase, hero boards, exploration, stealth, combat, and skill tests. Hidden down here towards the bottom of the campaign is a fun little piece of information too. If the 100+ hours of the campaign sounds too daunting or overwhelming, there's a fast campaign mode that'll allow you to play through it all in 40 to 50 hours. There's also a system in place for generating quick one-off scenarios if you're just itching to run through a dungeon without all the fuss of a campaign. The game will be available in English and French. There's a slight chance of a German translation, but that's only very slight, and it may not even come until retail, if ever. I love all the concept art they show. They really put time into developing a believable, living and breathing world. I only hope that the game's writing can live up to all the art. They hope to have the game to backers in July of 2023, and shipping will be charged in the Pledge Manager later. You can find a list of shipping estimates on the campaign page, but they're just that, estimates. These prices can and probably will go up. So, overall, my excitement hasn't waned one bit for this project. I love long campaigns, and the art seems magical and drew me right in from the start. I also love that when looking through the characters, they aren't all humans. So many times, humans are the only choice. I play games to escape real life. I almost always take the non-human character if given the choice. A couple of quick notes after looking through the campaign and the rulebook. There's no index yet. There's still time for them to escape the wrath of the king on this one, though it's stated it's only a work in progress. The rulebook is well laid out, and I appreciate they're including a full component list with everything clearly labeled. Sometimes what I call something and what the rulebook calls something are two very different things, and it's great to have somewhere to look when you have no idea what the heck the rules are talking about. The rulebook may border on being a bit too long for some, but I'd rather it be thorough than short. The biggest concern I have about the rulebook and the game in general is the massive amount of symbols or iconography. They do this to make things easier to localize, but the rulebook has 3 whole pages at the back of quick reference for symbols. Hopefully the symbols will quickly become second nature, but I worry there may be just a bit too many for some. I like that the game grants you several ways to tackle the dungeons and scenarios. You'll be able to talk your way through some conflicts without any bloodshed, and sometimes that can be even more thrilling than battle. I also like the use of stealth. Stealth can be hit or miss, but here it looks pretty solid and looks like it might add quite a bit to gameplay. Another system that has piqued my interest is the weather. Weather can affect your ability to travel quickly during the travel phase, and on the day board you're tracking it and changing the weather token. The weather changes throughout the day and can actually lead you through different event paths depending on if it's nice weather or bad weather. The last concern I'll mention is again the amount of books present in the campaign. I don't mind having a ton of different books to reference as long as there isn't constant flipping back and forth between the individual books. If you're using one book for the travel phase and another for the exploration phase, that's great. But if you're having to flip between them every few seconds, it can become a drag really quickly. So hopefully the amount of back and forth is kept to a minimum. I'm incredibly excited to see Malhya finally launching and being shown to the world, and the response to the campaign looks to be incredibly positive so far. I think the value of the game only goes up from here, and I look forward to the surprises they have in store for us over the next few weeks. If you've made it this far in the video, let me know if you'll be backing in the comments, and let me know which character you want to play. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe and hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and it keeps me motivated to make videos. Remember to back responsibly and play something fun tonight.